Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville, and I am here with Brittany Cole from Career Thrivers. And Brittany's gonna be coming to us every month and talking about just scaling up our lives as professionals and in our careers. Super excited about that. And today we're gonna be talking a little bit about how important it is for us to be advancing our careers and getting into leadership positions. So I'm really excited about this conversation. And before we get too deep, make sure you stay tuned because we're going to be talking about Brittany's conference that's coming up this week. And she has a coupon code for us. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But let's jump on in, Brittany. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Danielle. Thank you so much for the invitation to share. And let me just say publicly honor you for your leadership. So thank you for the work that you do. We appreciate you.
I truly appreciate it, and same to you. So let's talk about it. Tell us a little bit about Career Thrivers, because I've seen the growth and the transition. It's just over the last 3 years has been amazing. So tell us, for those that don't know, what is Career Thrivers?
Sure. Yeah. So Career Thrivers is a leadership development firm. We're based out of Nashville, Tennessee, which is home for me. And you mentioned 3 years ago, which automatically made me think, okay, where was I 3 years ago? So 3 years ago, I was sitting inside of a corporate organization, one of which I used to say, and I'd see people's like eyes kind of like, glare over. They're not familiar. I'm like, I work for Pfizer. And they're like, what? And I'd say the company that makes Viagra, and everybody like, oh yeah.
We all know Pfizer now.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm like, oh, like everybody knows Pfizer now. So yes, I like to say that I grew up at Pfizer, but had a really early start, as in like sophomore undergrad intern start at Pfizer through Inroads. So I always shout out, hey, what's up to my fellow Inroaders? But Inroads has definitely played a huge role in my career advancement and leadership development. And so Inroads introduced me to Pfizer. I was on a law school pre-law track and thought, okay, I'm gonna do these little internships and then I'm gonna head off to law school. Took the LSAT. Pfizer offered me an opportunity that was too good to pass up, like the fall semester of my senior year of undergrad. And at first I was like, Danielle, okay, I'm gonna take this job and then I'm gonna save up and like not have to, take out any loans to go to law school. And the opportunities just kept coming. And then, so, hey, needless to say, I haven't been to law school, but I had a really great career at Pfizer, was a sales leader there, a marketing leader there, but the work that I really loved was the work that I never had a actual title for, but I led a lot of our DEI work there, really helping to impact the representation of leaders because I was coming through the ranks quickly and kind of, I'm like, okay, I'm the only in the room and this might be a little tokenism, but I'm gonna leverage this thing. So let's see how I can make sure that, there are more people that look like me in these rooms and at these tables. So that is really where Career Thrivers is birthed out of. I started coaching on the side. Let me just go back a second. I actually started doing image consulting. So that's how my entrepreneurship journey started. I have always loved fashion, still do. One day I'll own my own fashion line, but I started out doing personal styling and image consulting for women. And my thinking was that, well, I love fashion. I have this, photographic memory and I can put looks together. Like I'm just going to, help ladies elevate their look. And that quickly turned into like conversations about, well, while you're here at my house in my closet, can you look at my resume? Can you look at that? So that's how I got into career coaching. They knew I was working in corporate and moving up there. And so it was kind of an organic shift. Looking back on it, it felt like it was like this huge like pivot. What am I going to do? Like people are going to be confused. But now I laugh at just how much, I guess, anxiety that I felt then about transitioning. But I went from image consulting to career coaching and then quickly noticed that you can coach a Black professional to a point, but if they aren't in an organization where they are seen, heard, valued, and advanced, there's only so much a career coach can do. So that's really was the impetus for me to ask myself, I see what I'm doing inside of Pfizer. I had a really phenomenal career there, really grateful. I lean on every single day as a business owner, what I learned there, but I also knew that there was more and there was more that I could do to help shift culture inside of corporations like Pfizer. So that's what I do today. I work directly with a phenomenal team of consultants and now also some full-time team members as well, but helping companies cultivate a culture where talent that looks like you and I can actually thrive.
That is amazing, and to just hear the story and to see the shift. Like I said, it sounds like a big shift, but it made sense, and it just progressed, and we love to see it. And so I think that it's such an important thing to be doing in this time that we're in, as corporations are really trying to figure out, what do we do? We made this statement in 2020, right? Like, how do we live up to that? How do we actually operationalize it and make it a part of our culture? So speak to me just a little bit about what that process looks like if someone, is like, we need some help. We know we need to be doing these things and we haven't figured out how to do them. And we want to engage with career thrivers. Tell us a little bit what that engagement looks like.
Yeah, so we take the approach of first starting with the top. So this work doesn't get done without executive level leaders on board. So the first step is we engage with senior leaders to say, okay, what does this work look like and mean for you at your company? And when I ask that question, I'm not asking about what you Googled. I'm not asking about what LinkedIn Learning's unconscious bias training says about the way your company should operate. I'm asking, what does really not diversity, but what does inclusion and equity look like and mean for you at your company? So one of the first tenets of DEI work actually working is it's got to be embedded into the culture because it's connected to the business. And so we try to really help leaders understand that, sure, you can launch an unconscious bias training. Is that going to help you get to the goal that you say that you want? Likely not. So let's talk about your business. And so we really try to come in and understand the business. And let me just say, because I know a lot of folks in here are entrepreneurs and business owners. I initially, when I started on this path, particularly when I started to really contemplate, okay, I'm going to leave my really comfortable, it's not perfect, but it's really not bad, good job with that 15th and end of the month and quarterly bonus and benefits that you could essentially write yourself, to jump out in the unknown. Like when I first started to get that inkling in my mind that I was being led that way, I had all of these self-sabotaging thoughts about what I did not possess. So I have never worked in HR, in human resources. And a lot of people try to put this work in that box. I've always been a business leader. So the difference that now I recognize that is actually a competitive advantage for us is that I was a commercial leader. I managed a budget. So I understand the mindset of a business leader, which is where this work gets done, right? HR can lead it, but it gets done in the business. It gets done with mid-level management. And so I have that perspective. And so we bring that. So when we engage, we educate from that vantage point. We don't educate from the vantage point of, here are all the things you need to know about the history. You got to recognize, right, the historical implications for where we are now, the systemic reasons as to why you can look across your leadership team and it's a homogenous team. But once we understand that, then we got to talk about the business approach for how you make this work at your company. And so that's what we help leaders with first. And then we help to equip their teams to be able to walk that out. So it starts with a really solid strategy. Leadership is on board from not just the top down, but the middle out. So the executive level leaders can make all of the commitments in the world. It's that middle that's oftentimes, we call it the frozen middle, where the work isn't happening. They're like, okay, great, you got that commitment, but we're hiring and our candidate slate looks the same. So how do we impact that level of the organization so that the work that everyone says that they want is actually seen across the organization? So we do that through three main ways. Strategic transformation. So that's like, what does your strategy look like? How do you think through that? Let's look at the current state and then where are you trying to go? What's the bridge to help you get there? Learning and development is the big chunk. That's the work I love. My divine deposit is teaching. And so I love to teach. And for me, that's helping adults unlearn what they thought they knew so they can be better and show up for who they need to become to get where they say they want to go. And the last bit of that is coaching. So providing coaching at scale through a phenomenal team of diverse coaches. The coaching world is typically white and male, some female, but you're typically white from an executive coaching perspective. And so we bring a diverse slate of coaches that are really tapping into emerging leaders to help them to get to those executive seats.
That was my next question. Look at that, because I want to understand, like, if we have the corporations on board and they are willing to do this work, but the folks that they're trying to put in these positions are not ready for them, because sometimes they will just put us in a place to check a box, right? Like to get some diversity in there. Now you are in this position that you're not necessarily ready for from a leadership perspective. Everybody is not a natural born leader. I don't even know if that is a thing. Like when it comes to corporate America, I don't know if that's real. There are a lot of skills, soft skills that you need to really be a good leader. So do you guys help with that as well in coaching up the people that are getting these positions?
We do, yeah. So I'll share a quick example and then talk about why that's important. So we work with one company that's in my mind, an advertising agency, Golan out of Chicago. We work with their Chicago team, and they, as a part of their, resurgence of their DEI is what I like to, you got to speak the language. So I don't know who I'm talking to, but who we're talking about, you got to speak the language. So it's like, you've had a resurgence of this priority around DEI. Wonderful. We are here for it. So what does that look like? Well, for them, it looked like providing coaching for their Black professionals. And we're like, hey, yeah, sweet. Like that's our space. So the short answer to that is yes. And why that's important, right? So we often say like, we want to make sure that we are aiding in other people's success, right? Or you are, contributing to another person's success. And I think in the context of emerging leaders and maybe even entry level professionals as well, we try to help organizations recognize that we don't just need you to invest in their success, we need you to be a partner, right? And so partnership is like you made the investment, and also who within the organization is going to be the mentor and or the sponsor partner with this professional to help to guide them in this either new journey or this new, business unit or whatever the case may be. So yes, I do believe, and we do provide equipping from that standpoint. And one of the shifts that we've made in that, I used to do way more coaching in terms of like private coaching than I get to do nowadays. Hopefully that's changing soon as our team grows. But one of the reasons for that, the why behind that, is because we run our programs through companies. And so a lot of our programs that are for things like a topic that I love, and I don't just love it personally, but it's so integral for career advancement, is personal branding, and not website, not logo. No, it's about how are you closing the gap between people's perception and your intention. And for Black professionals, the gap is often wide because of insert unconscious bias, insert all of the things, right? And so the role of personal branding is to help you do this, so that what you project is actually perceived. So then you're stepping up and owning that. So it's not about visuals and marketing and digital work per se, right? We teach it from the perspective of you use digital to scale. So I believe every person should be on LinkedIn. It's my favorite platform. Business owner, corporate professional, you need to be on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. I tell everybody who I talk to that.
Yeah, it's the best of the best. But when you get on there, like that digital tool or that social media is used to scale your brand. But if you never sit down and think about what is the belief I want to drive in my business, if you're a business owner, or in my company, right? What do I want people to believe about me, about my contribution, about the value that I bring to the work that I do? How do I communicate that in a clear, concise, and compelling way? That's what we help those emerging professionals with, so that when the opportunity presents, you're already ready. You're not trying to get ready. So yeah, so we get to work with emerging and executive leaders.
I love it. It's such important work that you guys are doing, from both sides of the coin. Like it's really impactful, and we appreciate it, especially for the professionals that are trying to get there, and whether we want to believe it or not, we have to show up a certain way, if we want these opportunities. And so that professional brand and personal brand is just so important to our, to us getting the opportunities that we want, and then showing up in those opportunities. So I love the work that you all are doing. Now, coming up this Friday is the
Yeah,
Advancing Black Professionals Summit. Is this year two? Is this
it is.
this
Yeah,
is the second year? Last year was amazing, and
thank
so I can't believe the growth just in the last year. So tell us what to expect on Friday, because I mean it's just growing and growing. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. And let me just say, I'll connect this to your question. So part of what I think of is like the secret sauce, like the secret sauce behind the work of personal branding. It's not just about, right, I need to show up in the package that I think this company will accept. It's about recognizing the unique aspects that are part of your unique identity, and how do you double down on that, and how do you lead with that uniqueness. So when we talk about showing up authentically in the workplace, it's not like, oh, let me go share my diary on the next team meeting. No, 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 no. It's much more about like, how do I leverage like my unique assets, like what makes me me, how do I lead with that, so then that becomes the magnet that helps me to attract aligned opportunities. So personal branding is very, I teach it from a very genuine place, that you're not trying to, because I've tried that. We don't have enough time to talk about the lessons from trying to show up in the corporate persona that you think fits the team and or manager for that season. Okay. We don't have enough time to talk about that. So I'm super, super passionate about helping, especially Black professionals, recognize like you can show up as you. You can be all of who you are and still earn the six figures and have the director and senior director and VP title. Tashonda Brown Duckett is one of my favorite executive leaders. She's a CEO of TIAA, and she's such a picture of that. If you Google her name and look for her headshot, most of them, she either has micro braids or some type of style that in the early 90s even Black professionals would tell you is not professional. So I say that to say, if you want to learn more about how to do some of the things I'm talking about, you want to join us for ABP 2022. So that's happening on Friday, Danielle, as you mentioned. And Advancing Black Professional Summit is a one-day summit where we combine celebrating Black history through the lens of helping to develop and advance Black professionals. We believe that there's Black history right in our midst. And so part of unlocking a lot of what we're talking about so that we see more Black professionals in leadership positions is by really pouring in and investing in and being that partner in their success. So we have over 30 speakers that are joining us on Friday, names that like Joshua Mundy, who I know is an expert here in the group. Also people that that recently moved here, like Morgan Devon. I mean, we have like so many stellar leaders that are joining us. We've got a roundtable of DEI leaders, including the chief diversity, equity, and inclusion officer for Metro Nashville, Andrea Blackman. I'm sitting down with her for a conversation on what does DEI work look like. We talk about it all day. What does it actually mean? What does it actually look like? And then we've got coaching. So I mentioned coaching is an integral part of what we do. We've got coaching sessions for you. So we've tapped our Career Thrivers coaches to ensure that you get your career and leadership questions answered. And I know I'm a woman, but this is for the men too. So we have a stellar roundtable that's called Black Men Thriving in Life and Leadership. That's moderated and led by Erin McGee, who's an executive coach. So we have Eric Brown on that. I mean, we got Quan Clark. I mean, it is going to be an amazing day with some special surprises. So you do not want to miss out.
All right. I love it. I can't wait for the special surprises.
We got a few things up our sleeve. So, you want to make sure you tune in. The last thing that I'll say that I'm super excited about, because we are all about partnerships. So got to shout out the partners in our success for this event. So Bridgestone is our presenting sponsor. We've got Caterpillar Financial, who is sponsoring colleagues to attend and sponsoring to make this happen for us, as well as NES. We had DeCosta Jenkins, or DJ. He was our opening keynote last year. And so they've come on board. And Everybody versus Racism. So I'm so thrilled because when you register for the summit, you will get an all access pass and an Everybody versus Racism t-shirt to come to NAMAM Friday night from 5 to 7 for the Black Experience event with Angela Yee. So I'm super excited about it. It's going to be really, really dope. And we hope to see you there.
Yes, I just saw the event at Name Ma'am, and then there's an after party at the back corner.
And there's after party. So when you register for the summit, yep, you already in for the entire day, for the evening. We got a t-shirt we're sending your way. And so it's going to be really, really dope. So shout out to Dr. Gerald for the partnership, CEO Everybody versus Racism. We're super excited to collaborate.
Wonderful. Yes. Shout out to Dr. Gerald. Yes. Now, tell us, how do we get registered? Where's the best place for us to go to get registered and make sure we are in the number?
So the best place for you to go is careerthrivers.com/ABP for advancing Black professionals. Let me just say, I'm just going to leverage this opportunity right here. So for some reason, for almost a year now, our website, so our domain, careerthrivers.com, if you share it on any Meta now platform, Facebook or Instagram, it bounces back some kind of community standard. So I don't know what that's about, but if you can figure it out, send me your invoice, okay? So we can share our website on the platform. But so I want to tell you that just in case people drop it in the chat and it gets blocked. So let me give you an alternative URL that you can also use to get direct access. And so it's abp2022.heysummit.com. So if you go to that link, you can register. Just click on register to attend. And if you use the code BPMM for Black People Making Moves, you'll save $10 on your registration. So again, we've got some awards that we're giving out. Super excited to have Morgan closing the keynote. She's going to be talking about how do you lead with authenticity and vulnerability. Really excited about that talk. And we're going to have a good time. So
I'm excited. It's going to be great. I'm really excited to be there on Friday. I'll be tuning in. Such amazing speakers, like all the heavy hitters. Like, I'm really excited to tune in. Like I said, last year was amazing. So make sure you go to abp2022.paysummit.com. Yep. All right. Use code BPMM to get $10 off. Go ahead, get registered. It's going to be an amazing event. And Brittany will be back with us next month where we'll talk more about moving into leadership positions, what that looks like, and other tips that she has for us. So I'm so excited again to have you on the team, Brittany. I appreciate you for coming and speaking with us today. We'll see you Friday, and then we'll see you again next month.
Awesome. I'll see y'all Friday.